Hey guys, welcome back to Author Journey. My name is CJ Anaya. Today I'm going to answer a question that I repeatedly get, whether you should self-publish your book or whether you should go with traditional publishing. And it's kind of a variation of that question. Some people want to know if they should just pursue traditionally published avenues, if self-publishing is going to hurt getting a publisher in the end. So I want to talk about that a little bit. If you're really on the fence about whether you should self-publish your book or whether you should traditionally publish your book, I always tell people to just self-publish it, because when you self-publish it, you can continue to send out query letters to agents, to publishers, and try to get that book signed on with other people. If you really want to do the trad pub way, and you're bent on that, and that to you is what is going to validate you and make you feel good. Because I know for me, when I started out, that's exactly how I felt. I didn't want to settle for anything less than traditional publishing. I didn't know anything about self-publishing. I just went to writers' conferences and was surrounded by agents and people I could pitch ideas to. And that was all very exciting to me, but I can't tell you how frustrating it was to send out query letter after query letter after query letter, and to have people look into it or to get back to me, but never to be signed on with anyone. And then once I did start to get people interested, get agents interested, once I was finally getting recognition, the loopholes that I had to go through, I don't know. I just kind of wish that I would have started so much sooner. I feel like I wasted a lot of time trying to validate myself. Now, there are other reasons for going into traditional publishing. For a lot of people, it's the stigma, because when it comes to being self-published, and I think this stigma is lessening more and more, but most people think, oh, you're self-published, which means your book's probably not that good. You're self-published, which means, you know, the gatekeepers of the publishing world weren't there to say, hey, your book's good enough, or it isn't good enough. And so especially for academics, when you're kind of navigating that world, you receive a little more validation when you can say, hey, I'm traditionally published. So if that is kind of what you're looking for, you really want to be able to say I'm traditionally published, then there's that aspect to look into. And for me, I really did want to say that. I wanted to say, hey, I'm traditionally published, but I feel like that's because I didn't necessarily understand the difference between being self-published and traditionally published. And there are upsides to being traditionally published, for sure, because they're going to handle the marketing, provided they're a publishing company who has the funds to do that. They're going to provide the cover. Hopefully it will be a good one that you like. They're going to provide the editor. Hopefully it's a seasoned editor, because I want you to consider something which is not something that I ever realized before. Not all publishing houses are created equal, okay? Not all publishing companies have the same resources, have the same experience, have the same budget, have the same crew, okay? So when you're a self-published author, essentially you're going to build your team of people just like a publisher would. You're going to find the right editor for you who is able to help you developmentally with your edits, the right copy editor. So you're going to have the right editors for you. You're going to find the right person to do your covers, someone who understands marketing, someone who understands your genre, and what the cover should look like within your genre, so that people are more likely to buy your book. And then you're going to need beta readers and reviewers, critique partners. These are all things that you'll have to create yourself, but you'll also know that you can trust in the process if you do. I've found an incredible cover designer. I have incredible editors. I have an amazing review team. These are all things that I built up myself. Is it a lot of extra work? Absolutely. It took some time to do that, to find the right people. And I had to do that after having been traditionally published. But this is the same thing that you will get, hopefully, when you're traditionally published, but there's no guarantee of the quality. I guess I should say. Now, if you are going to be traditionally published in these big publishing houses, then obviously the quality is there. For smaller presses, you just never know. You never know what you're going to get. You don't know if they're going to have cover designers who are able to create really amazing covers. You don't know if they're outsourcing them. So you don't know any of these things when you sign up except for the research you do. So hopefully you'll take a look at previous books that have been published and look at the covers and judge by that. Maybe buy a few books, read them, see how it's edited just to make sure. But the point I'm trying to make is that you have zero control over the team that surrounds you once you enter into a contract with a publishing company. Now, that's not to say that your hands are tied because they're not. You just need to do your research big time. When you query agents, when they're sending your manuscripts to other publishing companies, you really need to take a look at those publishing companies and make sure that they're producing high quality content as well, that their covers are nice, that the editors are good. You need to talk to them about what their marketing platform is, what their plans are, what their strategies are. These are things you need to understand, which is going to involve you understanding how to market books. If you really want to get the right publishing company and get in bed with the right people, that's what you need to do. So I'm not saying that traditionally publishing is a horrible idea, because it's not. Obviously, you can make a lot of money doing that. And I'm not saying that it's something you shouldn't consider, because I think that you absolutely should. If that is what you want to do, I think you should just consider why you want it in the first place. Do you want to be traditionally published so that you just can say you can? Because if that's the case, if it's about status, I would not do that. I would not do that, because when it comes to your bottom line, it's not worth it. You can probably make more money on your own rather than having to use that middleman and splitting profits. It doesn't seem like a good enough why for me, but again, that is going to be your choice. Are you traditionally publishing because you would rather not have to deal with marketing? You'd rather not know these things. You'd rather not deal with any of that. It's a hobby. You just want to write. Your why is writing and having someone publish it and getting it out there and having it there. And when it comes to the bottom line, like profit margins, things like that, doesn't matter to you. That, I think, would be a better reason to do a traditionally published deal. But again, make sure if it's a smaller press, make sure that it's high quality. Make sure that it's not just someone who decided, oh, I'm going to create a publishing company, even though I have no experience. Because there are a lot of those out there. There are a lot of presses out there that don't know what they're doing. So just be very careful about that. Research it, look at the covers, read the books, talk to them, ask about marketing. Make sure you know what you're getting into before you sign any contracts. And don't sign a contract that's like 15 years. Don't give your rights away for 15 years. Don't give your rights away for 10 years if you can avoid it. The rights that I gave away for the Healer series, that was 3 years. So that was a shorter duration. And I ended up not staying in that contract the full 3 years. I was able to get my rights back probably within a year and a half. So just be very careful and take a look at the royalties. Take a look at the profits that you're going to get, because if you self-publish, you're going to get 70% royalties on ebooks through Amazon and through Draft to Digital, through Barnes & Noble. It's a higher profit margin for you, obviously, because you're taking out the middleman. Now, if you decide that you really, really, really want to be traditionally published and make it big, like, like J.K. Rowling big, and you are willing to work for it, and you want to be published in those, like Simon & Schuster, just these big publishing homes, it's totally possible, and you can totally do it. And you can do it while self-publishing. In fact, that's a great way to go about it. Because self-publishing is not going to hurt your chances of getting published traditionally. I promise you that. Most publishers today, especially in those big houses, they're looking for people who already have a fan base. They're looking for people who already have a lot of movement and momentum behind them, because they know for certain that they're not really taking a gamble on you at all. They're signing you on. They know that your books are going to be popular. They know your books are going to sell because you're already a success as a self-published author. So for you, and it's only going to benefit you if you understand what it takes to market a book, if you understand what it takes to target that book to your specific genre and your specific audience, if you understand what a good cover looks like, if you understand what good editing is. So you need to build your team. That is going to benefit you so much, even though it seems like a lot of work. You need a cover designer that's awesome sauce. You need an editor who is amazing, and you need reviewers and beta readers and critique partners who are going to help you along the way. The more knowledge you gain as an author in all of these aspects, it's so important for you if you want to succeed and be that big and become a big name author. Even for people who are traditionally published, it benefits them to understand these things because they're going to understand what is happening marketing wise. They're going to understand whether their publishing company is doing the right thing, whether they want to stay with them or not. So more knowledge is only going to help you, okay? But again, if this is a hobby and you just want to be traditionally published, you don't care where or how or who has the rights or how long, then none of this is really going to matter. And I say, whatever you want to do is fine. But just be aware that with being traditionally published, you really got to know who you're jumping into bed with, because I've heard some horror stories, just awful, horrible things happening to people who give their rights away and then nothing happens and they can't get their rights back and they can't get they can't gain any money from it. And so they have to just forget about those books and write other books. Now, I've also heard some great stories from authors who love their publishers. They love the publishing company. The company's doing the right thing. The company is willing to work with them. And that is really, really wonderful and helpful. I do want to share with you some interesting information as far as whether publishers know what they're doing when it comes to marketing. I would say some do and some don't. That's why I'm telling you to be careful. Because, and I'm showing this clarity page. This is a platform where I've put my profile up here because I enjoy doing consultations. I enjoy helping authors when it comes to self-publishing, when it comes to just anything about writing, anything in general. I'm really happy to help. So I will. People will set up calls with me. They'll ask me about marketing. They'll ask me about different aspects of writing, cover design, just anything when it comes to that. And I think that it's interesting that a lot of the people that I deal with are publishers. Ironically enough, I have publishers call me all the time. I consult with publishers in New York. I consult with publishers in Australia. I consult with publishers in the UK. They don't understand marketing. They know how to publish a book. They can figure out, where to get good covers. Not that they necessarily understand the market for each genre, but they can find cover designers who do. The problem is when it comes to strategy, they don't necessarily know. And I run into this all the time, and it's interesting to me that they don't understand the importance of each author having a mailing list where they've got a fan base that they're building. It's interesting to me that they don't understand how Facebook ads work, how Amazon ads work, how these email blasts work. So this is all new information to them, and so what I'm really getting from these phone calls is that these publishing companies and these publishers who own them, all they really know how to do is upload these manuscripts, upload these covers, and I'm sure that they know more, obviously, but when it comes to publishing, they know how to upload it, input the information. Some don't even know about search engine optimization. They don't understand keywords and categories, so I have to give them a tutorial in that. So this is why I'm saying be careful, because I'm running into so many publishers who don't know anything about marketing. They don't really know anything about books except how to publish them. And anybody can publish a book. I'm telling you right now, anybody can publish a book. Easiest thing in the world, you can publish a book. And I think that's probably why self-publishing had that stigma to begin with, because it was like, well, everybody can do it, obviously. But what's important is that you're producing an incredibly good quality book. It's a good, high quality product that people are going to want. And there's nothing to say that you can't do that just because you self-published it. So I'm coaching these publishers, trying to teach them what I'm doing, and they're seeing the breadth and width and depth of this process. And then they've got to do this for every author that they sign on, and then they have to wonder how that's going to work, and they have to build their teams, and I'm coaching them and teaching them how to do that. And so I find it very interesting also that many people who are on the fence about self-publishing and traditional publishing, when I talk to them on the phone and and tell them what they need to do when it comes to making a living writing, because that's usually the people who call. Anybody who's going to spend money to talk to me is usually motivated to make money. So I'm coaching authors who are trying to figure out whether it's going to be more profitable for them to traditionally publish or to self-publish. And I'm always telling them, just self-publish. Just self-publish, just go for it, because the more audience you build, the bigger your name becomes, the more you're able to do for yourself. If you really want that opportunity to be traditionally published by a huge publishing company, this is going to be just as effective as any query letter you send out there. When you've got the momentum and the platform behind you to back you up and to back your book up and your work, and when you've got thousands of raving fans and you put in that work and you've done that, it's so much easier for those companies to say yes to you. It's so much easier for them to say, okay. Now, just because you get signed on with a big publishing company doesn't mean that you're going to be a success right away. They have deadlines. They have schedules. It may be a year before your book is published with them after you've signed on, just because they have so many books ahead of you, and they've got a lot of authors who are heavy hitters. So there's no guarantee that you're going to get what you want right away either. But for sure, you're going to have a lot more social proof, a lot more validation as a self-published author with a number of books under your belt, with tons of reviews, with tons of fans, with I don't know if they were translated into different languages, you could do that too. Although I don't think that that's been as lucrative lately as it was before. But just as much social proof as you can get, that's going to help them decide whether or not you are what they want and need, and whether because at the end of the day, they're a business and they need to make money. And if they can't make money with your book, and if they don't see that you have that following, they're not going to sign you on. So everybody's situation is different. It's just, you've got to figure out what kind of work you're willing to put into this, what you want, why you're doing it, and then go from there. So if you would like to eventually get traditionally published, I still say self-publish. I always say start out self-publishing. What could hurt it? Because while you're sitting there waiting to be accepted by a publisher, your book is not being read by anybody. Nobody is appreciating what you have worked so hard on. So for sure, self-publish that book. Get a really good cover designer. Get a good editor. Start building your review team. Start doing the things that you need to do to get this book published. If you haven't written your book yet and you're still trying to learn how to do that, I'm almost finished with the online course that I'm creating called Destroy Writer's Block, Never Get Stuck Again. And I know you're probably wondering, well, how does that help me, as a beginner write a book? Basically, I'm teaching you where you're getting stuck, why you're getting stuck, how to get unstuck, and then the elements, the fundamental technical elements of writing, so that you can make sure you never get stuck again. Okay, so it is very good for beginning writers. It's very good for intermediate writers. It's going to help you a lot that way. So no matter what stage you're at, basically, I'm here to help you with whatever you need. I don't care whether you go the traditionally published way of things or whether you go the self-published way of things. I just want you to understand what each path is going to take, what you're going to need to dedicate yourself to, and what your why is. Figure out your motivation and go from there, basically. If you have any questions, be sure to type them into the comments. If you want to hit me up on Clarity, you can just go to clarity.fm. You could put in a search for self-publishing. I'm the third person that shows up on the page, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that. So you can find me that way, and I'd be happy to talk on the phone with you. We can schedule a call, and we can go into more depth to meet your personal needs, because I know that I'm being very broad. I'm trying to help all of you and hoping that I'm hitting all the issues when it comes to what you should do, and I want to help you so much because I know it can be so frustrating, especially when you don't have all the variables. You don't know the answers, and sometimes it's all about mistakes. And I hate for you to waste time making mistakes like I did, because I had to learn certain things the hard way, which is no fun. It's a great learning tool. Mistakes are, the mother of education, I feel, but they're not fun. Mistakes are not fun, and sometimes they're a waste of time. So if I can help you, then I want to do that. So just be sure to like this video if it helped. Make sure you write down your questions in the comments. Subscribe if you're new and you want to join our family. And hit me up on Clarity for sure if you have any questions about this process. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.